All right, so we're going to begin our first Meet the Darlings, Wild Darlings. I keep saying Meet the Darlings and I catch myself, Wild Darlings, virtual gathering here offered by the Kindred of Sangoma. Not just because we have a starring role in the movie, but we're so excited to be here, and for several reasons, which I'm going to try and umbrella and outline so I don't have to say every Wednesday night. I'm just going to say it on this Wednesday night. You can read all about us and get like really major details. This is a more personal relationship. If you're looking at the full project, we are more than a movie. We started shooting over 2 years ago at Blossom Dell Sanctuary. We are charged up for finishing our project. You can't believe you're going to hear such exciting stuff because our Kickstarter isn't even open yet, and money is just raising in. And that's all going toward helping us finish our production at a plantation later this year. And then, who knows, you might see us on the red carpet at Sundance. So we're going to jump in to what seems like a really kind of heavy conversation, and it is. You know, I won't spare any moments about that. And I don't think, as we are having our political and our racial conversations, you know, because the headlines and the newspapers aren't filled yet with all of the downplay of the human trafficking, it's a minute away. Trust me on this. And this is why all of us in this ensemble, in this healing collective, feel really good about what we are bringing, because we are coming exactly in a season where those whose voices have been silenced, or their hurt and their pain and their woundedness is still way down deep and buried. Like everyone you're going to meet here for the next 4 weeks has kind of say, I know where you're at, been there, done that. And maybe not through similar circumstance, but the amount of pain and what it takes to heal that. And this brought me to the young lady sitting next to me, which is why I asked her. I have actually known this young lady, and she's what? Are you a grandma yet?
No, I'm not.
Almost, though. She has good-looking guys who are like 19 and 20. And I've known her since she was a little girl. Very little girl, dancing. And and so, you know, when we found ourselves both on this road trip together out to California, I always looked for the reasons, you know, and I knew I was doing this thing with the Wild Darlings. And this young lady who teaches African dance and yoga and is all about the holistic wellness inside of a person, really from the deep, just the way she lives her life, just who she is, even in this household, refereeing us in here, honey. No, she really is that person. And I said, I think if you go before and kind of talk to us just for a minute on the importance of it, like, you know, and we know that unfestered things could turn into cancer. We know we can't leave it in there. We were talking about it the other day with some stretching and moving. Why? Because trauma locks itself into our muscles. So Oyahumi de Rosario is going, a priestess of Oya, is going to spend just a few minutes laying that groundwork of what really makes finding the healer within, what makes it a priority, what makes it really important. You got it.
All right. Well, alafia, hello to everyone in the community, in the collective. I want to start out by acknowledging you, Iya, and just saying, thank you so much for allowing me to share with your community. And I just really appreciate that. So I love to connect with people in spaces like this. I have a background in exercise science and kinesiotherapy. I'm a yoga instructor, as the Iya said, dance. But also I was initiated into the priesthood of the Ifa Lukumi system of the Yoruba people of Southwestern Nigeria. And that happened when I was 8 years old. So I have grown up in this way where I have learned to live my life using ancient knowledge and then also being able to take that ancient knowledge and use it and just kind of have this duality about myself, whereby I live in the modern world, but I'm carrying this ancient wisdom, these ancient teachings with me. As an adult, I've decided to make it a part of my life. And that has led to me kind of creating the type of work that I do, how it is that I want to share myself with the world, how it is that I want to impact other people. And so having said all of that, I am a spiritual health and wellness consultant. So I get to wrap all of my passions, my spiritual background, and helping people tap into a place of transformation. So transformation is huge. And it's funny for me as a priestess of the Orisha, the entity that is Oya. She is the essence of change. She is the energy of the wind, which is constantly in flux. She is the last breath, that the human takes before they transition to the other side, to that other world, the unseen world. She is the energy of the marketplace, whereby people are exchanging currency from hand to hand. And you could go to the market in the morning wealthy and leave poor at the end of the day. So that energy of transformation, also that is swift, that comes as the wind comes. Sometimes we have a gentle breeze, and sometimes it's a tornado, it's a windstorm.
Okay.
And, for lack of a, more finessed way to say it, shit just gets tumbled. So she is also that essence. And from things getting tumbled, then communities have the opportunity to rebuild anew. So what could be viewed as tragedy also turns into opportunity for rebuilding a new beginning. And I think that part right there is kind of where we can weave together the conversation with who it is that I am, what it is that I'm interested in doing, and why I would even come before you guys to say anything. So I do pray for the space. So I am also a mom of 4. And growing up as a priestess, becoming a wife, becoming a mother, when one becomes a priestess as a child, that's not something that I chose for myself. A lot of us come into religion, or what we know as spirituality, because of our parents, what it was that they did. And then a lot of us, once we leave home, or even before, we go on a journey. And so that was the pathway of my mother. She went on a spiritual journey, which looked like the Nation of Islam. It looked like the Moorish Holy Temple of Science with my grandma, which then looked like Rastafarianism, which then led her even deeper, just looking for more and looking to connect, to coming into traditional African spirituality. And so that is what I inherited from my mom and her journey. And so as I am a mom now, it just so happens that it has stuck with me. A lot of us no longer practice the way that our parents practice, or our grandparents, because we've just found different ways to live. So fortunately, this is something that I've carried with me. My priesthood has always remained sacred, and I found ways to integrate it into my life as mother, as wife, as someone who likes to use sacred movement. So the sacred movement of African dance, and also the sacred movement that is yoga. I have a platform. It is called Vibrantly Transformed. And through that platform, I share pathways for women to access transformation, personal transformation. And I have 3 avenues whereby, I can share with people how to access transformation. The first part is the wellness piece, whole foods, plant-based nutrition, just a consciousness around eating for vibrancy, eating for wellness, eating preventatively. A lot of the times, a lot of us come into eating better or eating well once we've already gotten sick. So as opposed to waiting till after something happens, I say, eat now. You want to be vibrant, for the body that you're in right now, the space that you're in now. How can you get more whole foods, plant-based nutrition, not eating out of boxes or processed foods, just real foods, more colors in your diet, and just a consciousness around what it is that we're eating. Even I'm not like, oh, don't eat meat or anything like that, but even meat eaters can be very conscious about how it is that they participate in that industry, where they get their meats from, supporting
how they were killed.
Farmers, maybe
Right.
local butchers, things of that nature. So I think that that's very important. So the nutrition piece is really big for me. It's something that I also inherited from my family, because in my grandmother's journey with the Nation of Islam, she was a vegetarian. So when I would visit with my grandmother, she wasn't making meats. We ate fish, and it was a vegetarian-based type of cuisine, although she was a Southern, Southern Black woman. So that's just kind of something that's kind of always been around. And then when my mom went through her Rastafarianism journey, they're also vegetarians. So I kind of grew up
eating well,
just like with this consciousness around, I guess eating vital, and that stuck with me. And then I married a plant-based athlete. Right. So that was funny because, yeah, it was something that it had already been a part of my life, and I knew how to do it. And so that was how we raised our family. So the nutrition piece, super important. The next piece that I offer for people to access personal transformation is a physical vehicle. The physical vehicle for transformation that I like is yoga, and just the practice of it, and how it is that you can get into your body, get into your breath, and move in a purposeful way, move your body on different planes. And through yoga, I have been able to show up differently for many aspects of my life, my relationship with my partner, my relationship with my children, how it is that I communicate. So my journey with yoga offered me many, many gifts, and it continues to do that for me and those that I share it with. So the yoga piece and the meditation piece is the second part. And then the third part is, that we have to have a toolbox that we can put together of our medicine. So eating well is a piece. Doing something for ourselves that takes care of ourselves, that's a piece. Be it, working out or going for a walk or staying active, staying engaged in your art or your craft. That's something that goes in your toolbox. That's something that keeps your mind busy, and, it makes happy. It just does. And then also being able to tap into just the magic that exists around us. So coming from a background of traditional African spirituality, which is a religion and faith of nature, we use plants and we hold sacred different animals. And so what I wanted to bring forth today was how to make your own spiritual bath. And this is something, so this is really for everyone. And it's something that you can use if you are feeling down, if you feel like, things are just off, if you want to reset. This is something that you can create on your own. You don't need anybody else to do it. You can do it yourself. All of the magic, all of the magic or all of the healing that you might want to access by dealing with, you know, a priest or a healer. A lot of the things you have to learn to do some things on your own. These are the things you put in your toolbox, like journaling, you know, or having a meditation practice, or, you know, being conscious about how you feed yourself. These are all tools that you can use to reset yourself, to begin to go within, you know, do your level of introspection, self-inquiry. These are all tools that you could use for transformation. How is it that you can transform your greatest suffering? You know, what have I learned? You know, what has my greatest suffering taught me? And let that be a writing prompt. Just opportunities to look within. So the bath that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to just tilt the camera this way. The bath that I'll share with you is just something that you can add to your arsenal, to your toolbox, and you can do this on your own. So hopefully you guys can see. Let's see. Should be good. So here are the supplies. First of all, we're going to start out. What you'll need is water, fresh water. You can get water from your sink, or if you have a filter. So I have a glass of water. I start out with that. And then I have a bowl, because I'm going to make, it's going to be a bath. So you can either, if you take like a tub bath, then you can run your bath and then you can pour the mixture into the tub. Or if you're taking a shower, after you've showered and scrubbed your body, then you'll use the wash to pour over you afterwards. That'll be like your last thing. You won't rinse it off. You let that soak into your skin. So for the purpose of this, we'll call this a wash to release fear, to release sadness, to release sorrow, to release feelings of unworthiness, to release feelings of helplessness. This is a bath that you can make. So the herb that I chose to use for this is fresh basil. And you can find this in the fruit and vegetable aisle.
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's, we got this. But basil is not only good for you internally, but as an herb, as a plant, it has a dispelling property. So I chose basil because, as you, and you'll see as we make the bath, we're just taking something from nature, which is a plant that, you know, you might even have it in your own kitchen garden. But these plants have healing and medicinal properties. So we're going to use the properties, the energy of the plant as medicine for ourselves. So we have our water. I chose fresh basil today. And then I have here what's called effun. This is essentially like a chalk, or you could also use cornstarch. If you have like the chalk sticks, you could crush them up until it's like a fine powder, or even powdered eggshell you could use. And then the next part of it is a sweet essence. So I have an essential oil. This is just lavender. And then I also have a floral essence, which is basically essential oil with alcohol. So those are all the items that you'll need. So first we have our bowl, and we start out with the water. So we always start with water in rituals when we do prayers, because when you sprinkle water on the ground, if you were to sprinkle water on dirt, what happens? So it leaves a mark, right? You can see that there has been water. You know where water has been. And so whenever you begin praying, you start with water, and you always sprinkle a little bit on the ground, so that just as when water hits the earth, everyone knows that it has been there, then so too will everyone know that you are here, that the celestial energies, the gods, goddesses, spirits, however you want to call them, you are saying, I am here, and you are marking your presence. So just as the water always leaves a mark, so too will I be able to leave a mark. So then we're going to add the water to the bowl. And I'll just do a little prayer. With the prayer, you're simply going to invoke the creator, however you may refer to that energy. Omi tutu, ile tutu, ana tutu, tutu laroye, tutu ile. So I'm going to add the water to the bowl. And then I'm going to pray over the water. So because it's a small bowl, I'll just pick it up and I'll pray over the water. So Iba Olodumare, I salute the creator, the owner of the universe. Iba Olodumare, Iba Olodumare, Iba Orumila, Ileri Ipin. I salute Orumila, who is the witness to creation. I salute all of those ancestors whose line, whose shoulders I stand upon. I can call the name of my ancestors. When you're doing it, you call the names of your ancestors, your father's line, your mother's line, those people who have gone before you, call their names, call their energy into the room. So for me, I salute the ancestors of Oyeshegun, Clark, Tissot, Smith, Rosario, Edith Lee, Grandma Jean Bay, Kachita Nieves Tissot. So I call the names of my ancestors. And then I ask my ancestors that they will help me as I prepare this bath. I'm now preparing this bath using fresh water. And I ask that as I prepare this bath, I am wanting to use it to wash away negativity, to wash away sadness, to wash away feelings of unworthiness, to wash away all those things you want to get rid of, depression, defeat. You pray over that. So then we go to our first ingredient, which is going to be our basil. So then we take the basil, we bless the basil. I'm going to hold it up to my head, onto my forehead, and pray with the herb. So just as this is a herb that dispels negativity, so too am I using you, your plants, your flowers to add to my wash so that I too can remove negativity, all these things from my life. Then we're going to pick the leaves and put them into the water. Okay, so that part is done. Leaves are in the water. So then I have my powdered eggshell or my chalk. So the same thing with the chalk. Why do we use chalk? We use chalk to write, right? So when we use chalk, now we are recreating and we're writing something new with what's happening next. So that's why we're using the Efun, because now with this prayer and what we're asking for, we're going forth with something new. So now we have, so that we can write what it will be. So I add that to the mix and it's powdered. So we just crush that in there. And then next I'll add the sweet essence. So just as you use this wash to remove negativity, now you want to replace. Sweet, right? Yeah, so now you want to replace all that you're chasing and rinsing away and leave, because once you rinse yourself with it, what's going to be left on your skin, you're going to smell it. It's going to be that odor. So now we're still using plant medicine because these flowers have different colors and fragrances because they are attractive, you know, they are attractive and they participate in the cycle of life, what's happening with the bees. And so it all has meaning. So we add,
some on my feet.
We add the sweetness so that as we chase away and dispel the negativity, we replace it with light, sweet, loving, harmonious, balance, happiness, joy, love. So now I'm just going to put my hands into the mix and I'm just going to crush the basil. I'm just crushing the leaves and you can keep praying. Mm-hmm. Keep praying for, you know, as you're tearing this up, you're tearing away fear, you're tearing away whatever might be holding you back or keeping you stagnant. You want to rip that away and tear it away. So once you feel like you've sufficiently spoken and communicated with that plant, then you can just gather all the leaves, squeeze it out. If you want to, if you're going to do this in a tub, you can leave the leaves in. If you're going to use it as a rinse, then I would recommend just taking the leaves out, and I have them in the bundle, just put them on the plate. And then we have our sacred wash. And so just as you've prayed over this bath, just as you've used the plant medicine, just as you are writing a new way, and so it is, so it may be done.
Ashe.
And we say ashe, ashe, ashe. And your bath is ready to use. You can also put this in a spray bottle and carry it around with you. So if you go somewhere and, you know, the energy is not right, I've been known to carry a spray bottle in my purse and shift the energy wherever I go with what I've created. So we all carry sacred medicine, and it's just a matter of tapping into it to just use as a tool for personal transformation. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity. Again,
come back over here a little bit. I'll come in.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Again,
we're all about that Black girl magic, and we're going to hear more about it. And I just thought, wow, she can really set the tone, because, you know, wouldn't that be good? Every Wednesday we come, that we do have someone who offers medicines, because it's a journey. And while we're going to move into interviewing Nova next, the director of our film project, it's just great. And I you know, I sat here and I was like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't what everyone is expecting, but it's exactly right, as Oya always is. She said, don't give, you know, all, and I never like to do that. I never like to give all of the problem without offering the solution. We happen to have done it, I guess, for some people. Roundabout. We did that first.
yes.
So that whenever then, as people come in and ask the really hard questions, and maybe some will leave feeling sad, or maybe memories will come up for them, or certain levels of negativity that some of the daughters on here may reveal from, because they have all done amazing dances with transformation. I will say that in just the short year and a half, 2 years that I've known them. So thank you. You can sit here with us, but you don't have to.
I just wanted to say thank you. Yes, Sangoma. My name is Oyabumi. You can find me on Instagram at Oyabumi, OYABUNMI. Also, someone had dropped in the chat that they wanted the list of the ingredients. So water, fresh basil. That's what I use if another herb speaks to you. Or you could also use flowers, Efun, or yes, I can post my platform info in the chat. Efun, which is you can either use cornstarch, you can use powdered eggshells, or you can use crushed chalk. If you are in the vicinity of a botanica, you could ask for cascarilla or efun. And then
how you spell that?
E-F-U. The efun is E-F-U-N.
U-N. Thank you.
Yes, and then your sweet essence. So for your sweet essence, you can use, you know, an essential oil, or you can use the, you know, rose water, Florida water, those plant essences that are in alcohol. You can use that. And if I could just post my thing.
Sure. Absolutely.
So
she is going to give us a reward. We hadn't got all that together yet, so we'll keep seeing her later on throughout the Kickstarter campaign.
Yes.
Yeah. We're excited about it. You could do a one-on-one African dance class. I need it.
Classes, African dance, yoga. Also, if you wanted to do a spiritual consultation, I do readings. So if you book a reading, then part of the proceeds will go to the collective.
Wild Darlings Collective.
Yes.
Yep. And it's not at all to be confused with the readings that I'm going to talk about later doing, because I come completely from like this ancestral place, and this daughter comes from an Orisha place in her readings. So it's really, really good. And she is posting her information in the chat for those of you that would like to connect with her. And we're just so happy to have had you. It was I wanted something nourishing to set the tone for this journey into the Wild Darlings community. And you hit it on the spot.
All right. Well, I do play. Take care, everyone. Thank you so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm gonna take your seat. That way I don't seem so high up to the camera and I can see Miss Nova and all my girls in here. Miss Nova, are you present? You know, because we on the phone, we can't see everybody.
I'm here, yes.
There she is. There she is. Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you are definitely now in the room with Nova Scott James. And I just thought that was such a fantastic name before I was even introduced to her, let alone I was in Brooklyn, New York, and meeting a film director. You know, I'm a BA out of college with a minor in film. So it's kind of an exciting moment for me. It's not like I run up into Spike Lee every day. I'm going to charge this phone back in. So I got up to do because the cord came out. So Nova, my goodness, you know easily, and that is going to be a little bit of our challenge, but we can always come back to it because we got 4 Wednesdays. You and I could cover much larger circles of this, you know, portion here, but I'm going to try to just say, you know, obviously, I think people tuned in here because of what they couldn't get in the campaign or what they wouldn't hear or see on Instagram, that if you would give us just where you are in the hopes and dreams, and actually at this point, the manifestation of a dream that's been with you for a while. So I'm going to give you all of it because I know that you'll cover it the way you want to bring it in there. And then we do want to hear about Creative Genius, which is some of the stuff in the rewards and programs that you bring to the table through Kickstarter. And yeah, I think, you know, there's a note that I'd like all of us to hit. I'm going to try and hit it myself that says, what makes this timely? Given the 2020 we all had. You know, if you had asked us and there had not been a pandemic, we probably would already be in the editing room, but we'd already be getting ready to get our clothes ready for Sundance and everything. Yeah. But 2020 happened, and I don't think that's a question easily answered. I'm going to ask it to every darling, though, and it is, how did this project and where we are in this project right now just kind of fall like a domino right into a season with all this energy to give full-fledged birth to it? So those are my 3 questions for you. You can answer them any way you like.
Beautiful. I always love your questions. They're always like so nourishing to receive and generate such an expansiveness. So this project, initially when the download came to me, it was 2017 October, and it was the month that my grandmother Louise passed away, and it really felt like she was handing me this wealth of information. Here you go. And it felt big, and it's taken time and work to decode. And that decoding has been done by all of us as a collective. And it's so big and dense that it requires community and collective genius to understand and decode and then translate and share. And I also am feeling to share one piece, which is that, you know, I was doing a new moon ritual with some friends, and just like a really simple, casual ritual at home. And I mean, you know, as opposed to something more involved, and I guess what I'm feeling present to is like the simplicity of that, like, and that there wasn't, you know, we just had simple tools, candles, water, and love, and good energy, and sharing space, and co-creating that ritual. And it was in that evening throughout the ritual that the information started to come through. So yeah, which I don't know, I'm just feeling right now, just like loving the simplicity of that, even though it's a huge project and we're this big team and collective working on this. There's
And
also,
I think there's a key piece that we know that other people don't know. I feel like we're holding the secret as to whose wife she was and what your real relationship was with her that would generate that type of download the moment that, you know, the spirit left the body, so to speak.
yeah. And it speaks to your question about this, why is this the perfect season for this project to blossom and come into the world and come into people's lives and nourish people. And as, I mean, of course, there's always been individual trauma and collective trauma, and that our awareness of trauma and having to face it and embody it is really on the surface, right? Like, there's no denying it for so many folks, and even folks who, you know, weren't looking at their wounds and our collective wounds now have done that and have had to do that. Which, sure, I mean, that can be challenging work, and it's also beautiful work. Like that's that's part of the alchemy that generates healing. And so with this project, you know, talking about alchemizing wounding and suffering, and generating transformation and healing, now more than ever in my lifetime, we're collectively having that conversation, which is a beautiful thing to witness and live through, and also be a part of in a powerful way in terms of offering what I have to offer and what the Wild Darlings Collective has to offer to that collective healing narrative. And so my grandmother, she was a woman who dealt with and lived through tremendous sexual trauma and physical abuse. And it's heartbreaking. There's heartbreak and grief in that. And it's like I almost want to make sense of it, or like the fact that I'm the one in my ancestral line to break that curse and disrupt that and generate radical healing. And it's not rational. It doesn't make sense. So I can't say it to you in a way that is going to, who's to say why, other than all of my ancestors and their prayer and their energy, and my destiny is one good word that feels fitting. So, you know, in looking at the trauma that my grandmother experienced and the sexual abuse and physical abuse that I've experienced in my own life as well, at the hands of her husband, her second husband, you know, it's the mission is really, and the mission being this project and the film, is to share the healing beyond myself. As I began to fully embody healing and transformation and align with my power, it was in that I understood that I could share that healing with her in another realm and share that healing with other people on this realm, sisters, friends, allies, family on earth, other spirits in other realms, that healing can vibrate and ripple and extend past, like I'm doing this, it's like it can bend through time. It's not linear. And so that essence, like that's the spirit of what this project is and what this film is.
Yeah. I want to thank you for that. You know, I always have kind of a spiritual experience when you talk anyway, but you know, and that's why I'm so glad we're recording. I'm so glad we'll be able to come back to this, because I will, whether or not other people do. But I'm just going to say what occurred to me as you were talking. You know, I heard and felt a part of your grandmother in that story that I had not yet come into being with. And the whispers in my ears, because I've said this much and many times to wild darlings that I've worked with, who, like a Precious, did not understand, well, if you love me, why did you keep this dirty little secret? Why didn't you help me? How come you couldn't save me? Believe me, these are questions that through the process of healing, many, 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 many darlings have asked me those questions. And this particular road not being my experience from a child, I always felt kind of inadequate to be able to come up with an answer for it. Mm. But as you were telling that story, which I had heard from other ways, both in the film and from you, it was like the whispers were like, and so what if somewhere in her dreams, even unconsciously, because she was a victim herself and you know, and had these things done to herself, then that changes the whole playing field of what she even determined was a rescue plan for you, because you were just walking someplace she had already been. But if in fact the alchemy that you speak of occurred, because I believe it does, because I know where I was laying fully paralyzed when the medicine woman, Auntie, my Aunt Sadie, went to, I know exactly where I was. And so when that transfer of spirit happens, I'm saying to you, I just believe that. I believe from your lineage there that on a level, and I don't know that it ever came to her conscious mind, you could get that kind of a download in October of 2017, because her whole life was preparing to give you something that will reverse any hurt and pain that you had ever been through that was tied to her, like a second husband. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents from the peanut gallery, but I sure heard it in here, and it makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me, because even I have another friend older than me, an older elder lady, and her relationship with her ancestors, like even like, oh yeah, Booby was just doing, stirring and calling in her ancestors. It would have been a problem for her to call her own mom's name, because her mom's life, she looked at very judgmental. Oh, you're just a drunk. You have too many boyfriends. How come I'm the oldest kid that you depend on to raise the other 3 kids? And that was her life. And when I came to her ancestral house one day, and we were doing some work for the ancestors, and I noticed that. I noticed the distance, that she didn't have a real relationship. I could feel the resentment inside of herself that still lived, even though her mother had been dead many years. And I said to her, sometimes when people get the F in Earth School as our parents or our friends or who we thought or expected them to be, they get the A+ in the next place. And if all that trauma that was locked in your grandmother's physical body got freed up by the second her spirit was released from it, where she could really do that, and now here we all are, like, I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps. That is just so really, really, really great. So tell us a little bit, not that you don't have a whole medicine bag full of stuff, you do, but tell us a little bit about Creative Genius and what some people can look forward to when our Kickstarter campaign opens next week. And I don't mind if you throw in there that you tell them we raised a little coin already. You can go ahead and tell them they better be looking for your gift.
Our fundraising is going swimmingly, and we have some awesome gifts that are going to be available on Kickstarter. And so the gift that I'm offering is from my package of work called Embody Genius. And I coach individuals and also teams in harnessing genius and innovation, or collective genius if it's for a team. And so the gift, it's 4 sessions, and that can be for somebody one-on-one or for a team. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's, let's see. So likely those could be 4 sessions in 1 month, or if you wanted to spread them out a little bit, like there's some flexibility. I will work with you in terms of, you know, what's going to serve you best and what you're working on. And, you know, we'll come to the work with a specific project for yourself or your team. And we'll look at the big vision for that project, what you're channeling from the field, from your ancestors. That's information that you can harness to have the project blossom in new ways and, you know, reach whatever goals and milestones you have for that project. And when I say goals, you know, I really like to work from a place of, you know, yes, generating clarity in terms of what you're creating and moving towards. And I think goals has this connotation of like, I don't know, particular frequency, but in really, I work from a place of freeing up energy to receive, and that it's really like being in that receptive mode and tending to your nervous system and having pleasure be a part of your work that has that alignment come in and has things blossom. So yeah, that's the gift.
Awesome.
Yay.
Awesome. Yeah. Good stuff. Plus, at the end of the day, you got a Nova Scott James stamp of approval on you. You just say, well, she worked with us on creating it and fine tuning it. And that will count for a lot. It might sound like we just making fun, but we're not. That will, you know, it's like I, you know, like when you write a book and you want to go to people who have read your book and can write a decent quote on the back. And so who we work with along the way, that's part of it. That's part of us saying, whoa, we're much more than a movie. We're actually making a movement here. And so follow all the puzzle pieces now. We're giving you a little Black girl magic and a little backstory, little rewards. We got our rewards out there for when we do good, because we all need to feel that. That is just nourishing. And I hope that this becomes a larger discussion of like, healing is one of those so loosely used words that I hope that this gathering with the darlings will give people real land on the ground, real feet on the ground. You're talking about healing, I can give you 10 things I can do to get healed. And so we're so glad again that we have the recording that people can look back to each of the stories. So anything else you want to leave with us before we go to Eva, Coyote, Melon, and then we're gonna go to Big J, living like a boss. Last, I'm looking forward to that one myself. Anything you want to leave us with, Nova?
I'll just say I'm so excited for all of these Meet the Darlings events, and the last Wednesday is going to be all of us in the collective together. So yeah, and I'm just so excited for all of them and to hear Coyote and Jay share right now as well. So
yeah. Well, welcome, Coyote. What's going on, girl?
Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm blushing over here. It's good to be here. It's good to meet some of you and be with everyone.
So I got to ask you your 3 questions.
Oh yes, please remind me, because I'm deeply.
It's okay. No, it's okay. Because we've worked together through Season of the Raven. I don't know if I can explain, my dear Coyote darling, and I don't, not that you need any explanation, but I know people kind of would say, you know, daughter spoke of her priest name. I'll probably get to mine a little bit later. They said, well, I wonder why she called Coyote. You know, that's the obvious elephant in the room. And I did give you that nickname. I did. And I have to say, you know, I've been looking a lot lately. I think I said that on our call last night, on the Wild Darling call, that I recognize as part of that transformation is the movement of Oya, from when I met you all to even where we are right now. And I promise you that probably it's not like different women were in the cab or arrived as we were pitching all the tents and just getting ready to start and just getting ready to know each other before any filming had happened. But almost, yeah, every darling on this team has made just like leaps. You can't even say, I can't even fix my mouth to say a giant step. Every darling has made leaps in their lane, whether it's business or personally or emotionally. And Coyote kind of just jumped with you. I think people are going to pick it up as they get to know you better and see your role in the film and like that. But I recognize my Ella Sheen or my Alegba or my Coyote person pretty much in the mix. You know, you're not that girl with the mirror and the lipstick, you know, and that's all the Oshun ones, you know, or the bossy one, Yamaja ones. You know what I'm saying? Or the silent back reserve. You weren't any of those people, but you were there and you always at the mix of something getting ready to jump off, something getting ready to start. And it'd be Coyote that would be there with that. And so I was like, wow, okay, well, I'm going to just have to call you Coyote because you be on it and on it ahead of me. And to that, I said all of that to give a proper introduction to mindful meditations, which I think that name just hit you so well because it is you. And I think even in its infinite stage, like when you're older or my age, like that tendency, what I noticed that brought that Coyote name clear, that mindfulness, that tending to the details, that thinking ahead a little bit. Girl, can't we use that on the path to finding the healer within? Can't we use that for some healing? Daggone sure, right. So I want you to tell us, you can, again, you know, the questions are out there. What brought you to this project? Is it what you thought it would be, maybe? And now that through the project, you have developed this road of also nourishing, healing, yoga, meditation. Tell us about it. Tell us what this last year and a half has been like for you, other than the fact that, again, like you say, we all have the ups and downs and the lights and shadow. And so, you know, we were with you and hugged you as your father went to heaven. Each of us have had certain graduations of people over our heads that were here at the beginning of the project, and they've ascended since we've gone. And, you know, if that's been a big turning point for you, presently we're both in Cali, so we might be sitting on a big turning point right here. We don't know, girl. What up?
Oh man, my heart's beating really fast because I'm just in love with us. Let me just take a breath for a moment. Yeah, you know. Well, that's a big part of it. Like things finding me and I finding things to keep me, you know, centered and expanding at the same time. And allowing myself to be. So let's see, I don't want to get too detailed into everything, but what's wonderful about the way I began into the Wild Darlings Collective, Nova, me and her met, and it was a lot of, what do you call it? Balls dropped at first. She was like, you want to join? You want to join? Hey, come to this meeting. And I was just like, yeah, I can't make it. But yeah, so I think like the start of something is very important and telling. And she really just stood for me. It wasn't like, oh, you know, there was no any story around it. It was just like, you know, aligned and I suppose meant to be, if you will, because I made it in. I got there at the end of the day. And yeah, just always looking for more ways of like feeling okay in this life, because it can be a lot beyond my like understanding, you know. Growing up just feeling kind of like, where do I belong? All of that good stuff. Don't mind me if I cry a little bit. I'm just open.
No, give us the
Part of it,
tears.
right?
We love it. We love
Like,
it.
I'm not trying to hold this back, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, just like confusion and like running away from myself a lot when I was younger. You know, my this is valid, and sometimes I'm like, oh, but it's beyond that. But it's also that, you know, we talk about ancestors. My mom's Hungarian and my dad is a Black man beyond my like being able to place it in a space, you know. So there's a lot of confusion growing up, and I grew up with just my mom and my older, also biracial sister. And I'm just like, I look different. Like people are like, oh, anyway. So that's what always pulled me as I found yoga at the age of 18, luckily. Once I found that, and I would go to yoga during gym. They brought a yoga teacher into gym. And that was the one class where friends would be like, oh, let's skip gym because then we'll have 2-hour-long lunch, because it was right before lunch. And I was like, no, not today. It's yoga. And it was the first time that I found out. And it was like finally this, like, I would do it and I was just like, I'm good. You know, it's that presence to the breath at the core. And there's other things, you know, the movement and all that. But for me, it was really like being with the breath. So yeah, I just find as I go through life, these little nuggets of like, you know, keep going, keep like being, and like allowing yourself to like be all that you are and not make yourself small. And all the synchronicity and answering the calls and all that good stuff. So that's what led me, you know, to Nova, to the Wild Darlings, is just self-work and figuring out, but also not figuring out, just like figuring out that there's nothing to figure out, and like, you know, being able to look at myself in the eyes in the mirror and like, okay, am I okay with this? You know, what do I want to shift? What do I want to, you know, spend more time with? Not being afraid of any of the dark stuff or the things I don't understand. And so, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. But
Yeah. No, I'm sitting here thinking, and here's the tough question. You know, I always feel a little quirky when a really tough question that if somebody asked it to me, I go, okay, wait a minute. But I have to ask it because, again, you know, it's interesting. I'm loving it. How I feel having been in all of you all's presence and heard bits and pieces of the stories and worked on log lines and different ways this film is coming together. And now what we choose to kind of jump in as a part conversation in any of these things, like, so opens the door that I hadn't yet got to ask you. This is simply why I have to ask it now. And again, it's 2021. George Floyd is dead. We've moved through some things. Your father has passed. We've moved through some things. And so, whereas a minute ago, probably when I met you, I likened it to some of the conversations around Mariah and Hallie and the pressures of trying to fit in both worlds. And only because, like, I don't know, Zoom call number 3 this morning with the Nature Connection folk was dealing with a number of red elders on the call and myself, a couple of other elders, and we're all thinking that we're on the phone because the privileged white folks have now, you know, taken a level of responsibility for the children of color they've adopted or the children of color that they're sponsoring into these nature programs. And so my question for you comes down to, do you feel any particular pressure as Ava Coyote Melon, representing that particular character whose pain is a million people wide? You know what I mean? I could hear you speaking and know, because I'm old enough, that when you were a little girl trying to figure out that racial and cultural identity, we didn't even have half the mixed families on the planet that we have right now, baby girl. You understand? Everybody got a person of color in their family right now, if you want to really know the truth about it. Somewhere. And so, you know, being that, I think I'm right. I think you are the only biracial cast member. And a lot of people, yes, a lot of people will look at pain previous, healing now, and where you're going and where you're launching the rest of your life into. And hopefully, if we do our jobs well, be inspired by you. Does that feel like a little pressure, girl? Just saying.
No,
keeping it real.
It doesn't.
No,
it doesn't
good.
feel like pressure. It's just it's just life. Like, you know what I mean? I think I'm really at this point, and that's so going to a question that I do remember from before, the timeliness. I'm tired, man. You know, it's like, I'm here and this is the stance I hold. This is how you perceive me. So I guess this is my job. I'm not gonna, like, okay, you know, not to say that it's just ease all the time. There's emotions and
right,
all that. And I am really blessed to say that I do feel like I have the tools in my medicine bag to move with what comes up, you know. It is hard a lot of the time, and part of that difficulty and heaviness is why it's like, all right, let's go.
right.
My father passed away last year and, you know, killed himself. Like, not to make it like this, but like, it's this real, you know, like, wrongfully convicted, bipolar, escaping that. Like, fuck. Okay, let's go, right? Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm here. I really do see myself, and I think I've seen myself for a long time, and I just was trying to be like, let me make people comfortable.
And you can't do it. But you know what the joy is, as you were talking? I was seeing you because, you know, I really do think we'll do the red carpet at Sundance. and just like the little girls came up to, what the girl name? I forget her name, but, you know, she was in the Hunger Games. And they ran up for her to sign something or say something to her because they wanted to be a Mockingjay too.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I just have that feeling like little girls moved by Kamala. I just feel like, you know, they'll recognize you right away in the cast of us, and you will already have just met their expectations and done everything right, simply because to see you gave them more strength than they had before they met you. And I really believe that, Coyote. I do. I think each of us have a divine calling to be in the role that we're in. And so before we cut away to Big J, because we want to get everybody in here and still be timely, tell us a little bit about your reward, honey, and what they need to look for. Because again, we have tons and tons of rewards.
Okay, so I have had the honor of holding space for the last 3.5 years. Used to be at my mom's shop in Bed-Stuy, and now it's virtual, which expands the reach, which is beautiful. So guided meditation, guided mindfulness meditations via Zoom that I do weekly. So I have 3 different options. You can either join one of the existing group sessions that I do, or you can book a one-on-one, or you can create your own group of up to 8 people. So if you want to get some of you and your homies or your enemies together to breathe. And it's a mixture of things. Like a lot of it is intuitive. I use my singing bowl to cleanse the space. And body scan. I might have a focus. Also with the personal and the create your own group, you can choose from a number of focuses, and then you walk away with a little takeaway meditation and a writing prompt. So there's a few different price point options.
Yeah, we were good about it. We wanted to cover all pocketbooks. And so we created that, you can get us here or you can get us there. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that light with us. The more we get into it, because I already know us, I'm like, dang, man, people got to tune in on Wednesdays because, this is quite the cast. No two darlings are even close to the same. And that's what makes it just so beautifully diverse. And we have such a wide representation of all the people that need to hear this message. So Big J, where you at? Where you at, girl? Jaline Toussaint. Okay, I love that name. When I go to New Orleans, I just dance all over that name. It's like Mardi Gras. No, I really do. I've always loved Toussaint. And here now I have one in my life, Big J. And what I know is, because I think about these things, as I wander up to Wednesday and I go, oh, I wonder what I'll say. I wonder what I'll ask them, And so as I got to you, my girl, and meeting you and I don't know, I just haven't been skinny all my life. I'm going to be quite honest. I watch my relationships with big-bodied women. I do. And I wonder, am I made to feel small in myself? And you, like many of my big-bodied friends, are such the cuddly teddy bear, even if you don't open your mouth. No, I'm really serious for everyone else on the call. You may look at Jay, and we call her Big J because we love her. And she's not that terribly big at all, really, but she's bigger than any of us. And so, and she's, and personality-wise, I'm not just speaking of her physical body, I'm like, Jay filled a room. You see what I'm saying? And so I know you're going to get into, that herbal entrepreneur, you know what I'm saying? That made our food tent so lively between the shoots, and largely because you had these intricate things like butters and da-da and da-da. I hope we get Jem. I hope Jem shows up because Jem was our kitchen cook. And man, she just took it to a whole nother level. Every day out there in the woods, we were all excited to get to the dinner table. Let me tell you, it was so good. So Jay, I know you and Nova have been friends for a good while, so that's going to definitely kind of cover how you came into this project and just have been really close to her life and kind of a big part of it. I do think the extra sexual accoutrement story is the funniest. I won't stop you from telling it because it's really pretty goddamn funny. And I don't know. What do you want to tell us about pronoun they, your life, making money, smoking herb? Girl, you can bring the whole of Big Jaylene to the microphone right here. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
Let's see. So yeah, I knew Nova since since high school, 9th grade. I was president, she's vice president, But yeah, so I've always gravitated towards marijuana as medicine. I'm not even sure why. I just always I've always known to be associated with it. And so for the past 2-3 years, I was working in it professionally with medical marijuana in New York. But as you know, the medical marijuana system is very geared towards, I would say, non-minorities. So basically, they get you in to have faith in the beginning, and then as soon as they have that and they have the following, they let you go and they hire white people to replace you. So I was like, I need to do this for myself. So I've been focusing on trying to gain capital through investments, through the Wild Darlings, through many things I've been trying to seek wealth, not even like money wise, but like wealth for my soul, which I feel like Wild Darlings helped me find, like a community that helps me focus on not just material things, but the spiritual things. And I really appreciate that about Wild Darlings. I don't know if that touched everything. And
Because we had a little noise in the kitchen right here. And I see my good friend Kifu, who's going to be kind of in Oyabumi's role next Wednesday. Girl, I can remember going to, where was it now? I can't even remember the name of that farm, Earthseed, Wild Seed, whatever it was. But that was the kitchen table I sat at and said to my good friend who I could, I said, you can tell me what queer means, because I need to understand. And when we got down to it, I was like, yeah, girl, I'm a lover of women. Yeah, girl. You know what I mean? Because before that moment, before I felt safe enough, it wasn't everybody. I mean, you could have pretty safe conversations on being gay or being lesbian, but people looked at you kind of strange if you asked them what queer meant. And so my friend here, who we can talk about anything at any point, she just clued me in. So I just wanted to recognize you, Mother. And we look forward to you next week coming and bringing, because she's done, oh my gosh, powerful work for mothers in jail, mothers and daughters, and just powerful work. And is definitely a part of our extended Wild Darlings community. But yeah, Jay, so gosh, I don't know. I think, I got a lot going on. My mind is just swimming because I went out to Oakland yesterday, and, they got one of them houses like yours, like right around the corner. Like, it's a lot for a girl to digest that ain't never been on the West Coast. You see what I'm saying? And so I see and feel your dream, and I felt it since knowing you. I guess the question that comes to me is, how do you see the role of Jaylene in this particular project? Giving validation, maybe is the word I'm looking for, validation to women of color who can say, I can do this. You might think you could move it out my yard to only the white privileged people, but watch, because I'm watching you. And everything I watch you do, I can create it. So I don't think we've gotten to that part of it yet in terms of the film, how it's going, like kind of how we take our particular healing and the gifts that go with it and make it move into the dreams that we've had for our lives all along. But you have a sense of that? I mean, I'm totally sure you don't have a complete answer to that question, but do you have a sense of it in the role you're playing in this film?
Nah, I definitely want to be like a pioneer for Black women, like, because we already been, this has been our industry for years and it's been criminalized. And then as soon as, other group of people see the benefits of it and could profit off of it, because it truly is medicine. Like, it helps with people who have cancer. Like, it helps with preventing like tumor growth. It helps with oh my God, so many things. Like it helps with people who have diabetes. It could help lower your sugar, stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's like,
and all the CBD products are supposed to deal with the level of pain, right? Whether it's the
CBD is
salve
good
or you
for
get
like
the drops, or
CBD is good for like nerve and inflammation to your body. So it helps bring homeostasis back to your cells. So that's why marijuana is definitely a medicine. It helps bring balance back into our bodies and help us combat different ailments that are caused from inflammation. So that's why it's so good as a medicine. So I just want to be able to educate my community that it's not just something to get high on. It's something that could it's something.
no, it's real until you said that. That's why I'm saying I'm having such epiphanies today. I'm like, who would have come along and seen you on the set or being shot and said, that's the pothead? Well, because you're absolutely right. There are certain negatives that are thrown, and that is not who you are. Nobody would even know that to be around you. You know what I'm saying? You like a herbal doctor, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah. So I'm glad you're going to turn that. You're going to flip that a little bit for
Flip
the
that
people that get
narrative.
involved in this project. And I want you to tell us about what your rewards are when people donate their $100 or they be at Ben Franklin's booth. What they gonna get from you?
All right. I'm holding a class about marijuana, teaching about how to use it as medicine, how to microdose, using CBD, the benefits of CBD versus THC, different ailments that it helps with specifically. So just informing people how to make edibles. You don't have to necessarily smoke it. Tinctures, topicals, rub it on your skin, helps with inflammation on your skin. So there's so many uses for marijuana as opposed to smoking. I want to teach everyone that.
Yeah. Yes. And I like I'm waving my hand because I'm sure I don't know all those parts, nor do I have the proper closet of inventory that I require. But we'll get together on it later. We will. It's been good. It's been good. Anything you want to add to us before I switch over to my rewards and ask any of the ladies if any of them have questions for you that have joined us. I am just really, really grateful that we are the ones, I guess, that kicked this off, knowing where we're going. No higher or lower. It's great. It was a nice balance of different areas. Yeah, I don't know. I want to make sure you feel complete before I switch over into the grandmother Sangoma matriarch of the film piece here.
Yeah, I think I went over everything that I wanted to contribute to the project.
Cool. Well, I'll tell you what, it is the way my life is. How did a role, if you ask Nova, of grandmother Sangoma turn up to just like be there for her film? And you know what I mean? Maybe again, her grandmama sent us that beautiful intersection to meet as she left the earth and went to heaven. I don't know, but it turned out I was at a girlfriend's house in Brooklyn, New York, and I was doing a workshop there actually, and Nova got invited, and Misha, the girl who's warehouse apartment in Brooklyn with a sweat lodge in the yard next to the railroad track. Amazing people said, Nova Scott James is coming, she's doing a film and da 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 da. And at the time I was really caught up in, I was doing this heavy duty workshop on dismantling white supremacy. So I heard it, but it didn't like really check in. And afterwards, probably I had some Alekes there and people getting readings and things like that. And so we had a chance to talk. And then I don't even think it was that night that we said anything. We just kind of tapped into each other's vibe. And at some later point, she was like, we're going up to Blossom Dell and can you come? And and the next thing I knew, I was in a tent and like on the set with you guys for shooting this movie. And being a theater major and film minor out of college, had never been in any world, theater, film, or otherwise, that didn't have a script. So that was my first phenomena, like, okay, I want you to give me my script so I can like kind of study the plot and what's going to happen and study the lines. And the good news for everybody that tunes in on these Wednesdays and hears our story is that, hey, this real life. They're not even no script. Okay, script happening as we living. and it's amazing how that works. Throw in a sound bath, throw in some decolonization movement. Nova did so well to take us in each day of that shoot through particular mind eye and her collaboration with Flora and the camera people. She knew what she wanted to get, and she basically built the ecology for it to organically happen. And I have to say the role of grandmother Sangoma did the same. I just, I wake up, my eyes pop open, and I'm pretty happy that I am who I am, and I have a sacred and ceremonial life. And so for someone to say, come do your life, and we're going to turn the camera on it while you do your life, like I ain't complaining for that. I got nothing to say bad about that. So it's been absolutely great. And the year and a half, we've we've had writing labs, and I've had an opportunity to call all the names of all of the ancestors of all of the darlings in the huge, the collective altar for this project is an entire room in my house in Georgia. So from every aspect of getting to know you all better, to how the role I'm in asks me to deepen myself in certain places or come up to the challenge, meet this challenge. You know, we all got Sister Z that we passed through, Xenia, and we're going to see how her story shapes into the big picture. But that was pretty shocking for all of us to have to deal when the traumas that are inside of a wild darling could still do harm, could still do emotional and mental and physical harm. So that being said, we are Sangoma Oludoye, mother of Kindred of Sangoma. We have some riotous rewards. We really do. I mean, the least of which would be, yes, you could get a reading with me in ancestral divination and born in the call and kind of gifted audibly to hear the other side and walk and see the other side. Yeah, you won't get that every day. So yeah, that goes a little farther than a tarot reading. And so that type of reading is out there. For those that donate, I think it's $60 to $100, somewhere in that area. Yeah, you could get that reading. The next one is my favorite, and I cannot wait to see who donates to get this one, which is the Queen's Campout. And along this last year, we've come into collaboration and work with those 19 Black families that have bought the 500 acres in Toomsboro, Georgia. And in March, on the spring equinox, we will be doing a weekend retreat, which we do fairly often in different locations. But Toomsboro, Georgia, which is soon to be known as the 8th city of Georgia, Freedom, Georgia. And we helped people there build in Neepy, a sweat lodge. So I don't know, to donate to our project and just have to get yourself to Toomsboro, Georgia, where you are picked up at the airport. You have entire VIP treatment. You have a, you know, Game of Thrones type setup. You know, your tiki torches, you know, your air mattress. You don't come like way up the camping list is all set up for you. It's an all-inclusive weekend retreat with everything thrown in. And I would just love to get that. Who wouldn't love to get that, right? A weekend at the spa or at a retreat, a healing retreat. And then the last one, which I was just working on, is actually a membership to the Kindred. And you know, because we're in this little Kickstarter thing, they asked, well, give us a 3-line description. I was like, oh, I don't even know how I'm gonna do that, okay? Because people that donate to the Kindred are part of how we do what we do, point in fact. And so whether or not we give them discounts in our trading posts, or we give them 50% off to come and sit in the campfires at the woods and the ancestor fires, or the Earth Skills events, or the nature events, or they just want to buy all of our books from Spirit Speaks Publications, like that could go on for a minute, you know what I mean? Or they want us to produce a film through Black Moon Spiral, which is just dedicated to sacred things that you don't want kind of public camera situation. You want it to be personal. Maybe it's all women. Maybe it's a tea party, a naked tea party in the woods, which I have done. And you want it for you and the members there, but it's not anything people are going to see on a screen or it's going to be public like that. So I wound up saying that in my little 3-sentence description, is that it's custom designed to the person that's becoming the member of the Kindred. And that covers it all. That means we can shape it and reshape it however it works for the person that has given the donation. So we have just amazing things to look forward to. Let me put a couple of things on the table. This was enlightening because the stories are juicy, and all of the stories are juicy. So that's going to be there every week. But what is not quite in place yet is the opening. And I wanted to do it because I wanted to get some dust up under this car moving, you know what I'm saying, before we open that Kickstarter. So our Kickstarter actually opens February 12th, and we have this Wednesday and next Wednesday, the 10th, before there's an actual link that would come up here in the chat room, and people would be able to donate, or people would be able to go ahead and grab one of those good rewards, because there are only a few of each. And there are many, many, many every week that you come. Those darlings are we got a twerk lesson from Bree Free. My goodness, I don't even know how to twerk, but she's gonna explain all the reasons, and I believe that it's healing to the lower chakra, and it moves some energy and some kundalini work. I believe that. And we have a poetry slam coming up. My goodness, Janae, I hope we get to see her art. She was like my little, underworld graffiti guy. But you know what I mean? It's like, this is an artist that you might not see in an art gallery. You'd see her art like throughout different areas in New York. And gosh, who did I leave out? Mother Jaguar, who did the hape with us. She was the other grandmother on the set, and she'll be coming back again at the tail end of the filming. She and I first went to Toomsboro, to that land together, to the big black camp out. Wonderful sister that lives in the ATL. She'll be with us next week. So yeah, Mother Jaguar, Bree Free, and Timmy, Shamanic Drum Journey. Those are the 3 members of the cast that'll be with us next week. So, for those of you that were so dedicated to come on and find out what we're about, thank you, thank you, thank you. And when you see these little promos going by, or the Zoom link or whatever, pick it up and move it along, and let people, men and women, have all been abused in this way, and have all, this is not to any particular gender. There are many, 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 straight, gay, this, that, the other. We're all now pushed on the path of finding the healer within. We are pushed on that path. And I think we're full. I think we're a medicine chest full of different ideas that people might not think of on their own. Oh yeah, I could use that, and that would make me feel better. Like, easy as that. Like a bath, or like music, or like yoga, or the various things that women and men, but in this case, mostly women, some bisexual, some gender mix, some twin spirits that feel like, and I thought that as Nova was talking at the beginning, I guess it came back from a wild darling I worked with years ago. And she came into my life when she knew herself to be a broken toy. And she was the mother of 3 or 4 kids at the time. And what shocked her was having to change the baby girl, because she had 2 boys first, the baby girl's diaper, and look at her vagina. And it would just trigger her every time. And so just watching that process of, all of us are broken toys in some areas. All of us have had various heartbreaks in various times where we thought something inside of our soul was breaking. And isn't this one of the better times of any? America is broke. There's so many broken things out there for us to be mending on and healing and fixing. I say we'll go further together than we will alone. And yeah, so we're asking that as and so you're clear, we purposely, we're not missed on the fact that this campaign itself, the raising of the money, is going to go from Black History Month right into Women's History Month, and that we're going to be able to tie in a lot of ancestral levels to this work. And this is why we don't want this to go out like other things out there in the social media, and people think that we're all exclusive, because actually we're pretty open. We're open to anyone that would love to join us and raise some energy around this project getting completed in this year. And I don't know, maybe we will win a festival award. So if there's anything, I know we went over time, but if there's anything you want to check in with me before we leave here, if not, I'm going to say, peace and love to you all. And that we will see you on next Wednesday. So looking forward to it. Thank you so much for showing up, Kifu. I bet you got a good idea who we are now. Thank you so much. Hey, Bree Free, there you are. That is you.
I like your hit, Kifu.
Yeah, you'll be here next week with all your gifts and rewards. You know, I'm going to figure it out. I didn't bring my laptop on this trip, so I'm on this little machine here where I can only see a couple of boxes at the time. Okay, Nova, anything you want to say in particular to close this out? If not, I'm going to do it.
Thank you.
Other than let me remind you that probably within 5 days, you could watch this again on the Kindred of Sangoma YouTube channel. So I'm going to say that again.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sangoma. This was so wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
All right. Peace and love.
Thank you, everyone.